Hello, Cancer. Hope you're having a fine day. I'm having a pretty good day. The sun was already melting into the horizon when I feel like this person is realizing that holding your heart so close had kept the world at bay. But now the tides are shifting and everything you thought was safe is about to change. Well, welcome back to Hermit in the Woods Tarot. My name is Matt, and I'm so glad you've taken a moment to join me here in the small cabin in the woods. This space reaches out to those who are looking for guidance, reflection, and a little clarity. And if you're new here, consider liking this video, subscribing, sharing where you're watching from. I love hearing from those in the community. And as always, please leave your questions in the comments for future readings. And remember that these readings are for general guidance only, and it's always important to trust your own intuition. The forest teaches us that growth is rarely loud, and that stillness, the quiet moments we sometimes overlook, is often where understandings begin to emerge. And here I focus on truth-seeking, reflection, personal growth, grounded spirituality. And today we're diving into the energy of Cancer, exploring love, career, life transitions. And for today's reading, I'm using the House of the Dragon Tarot deck, which is rich with symbolism and detail, and it's perfect for exploring the nuanced energies of Cancer. And I use what's called the Iron Throne spread, which is 5 cards designed to reveal power, positioning, decisions, destiny, and the path and best outcome, which is rightfully yours. It's not about a single answer, but understanding where you stand and the forces in play and where growth is unfolding. So let's get a couple more shuffles here, and then we'll pull 5 cards, and then I'll pull a spirit message, and then later we'll do 2 clarifying cards. So let's get 5 cards and a spirit message. Alright, so first card that come up is the Page of Blades, and this is your dragon's eye. It's the obstacles in front of you. You might have possibly tackled these obstacles this week, but it also could be next week. But the page speaks to emotional fatigue. For some of you, it's the weight of responsibilities, whether in relationships, work, or school, that's draining your energy. You might be overthinking decisions or second guessing yourself. This suggests a moment of caution. Don't let the outside pressures cloud your intuition. Step back, breathe, consider what's truly yours to carry, and ask yourself, what pressure am I absorbing that isn't mine to bear? And just looking over the cards here, I feel like the energy is kind of darker gray, but in the end, it lightens up. And I feel like this warm air is coming in. Like a sense of summer, spring, freshness. So next card, which is in reverse, the Ten of Blades. And this is your strengths that you have and possess right now. And looking at this card, you know, there's several swords there, but one's bloodied up. And to me, it looks like somebody just came back from battle, hung up that sword, and oddly, the swords are pointing towards those two little daggers there. And upside down, it points to, it's almost like a V, like a V almost. And I'm guessing maybe it's pointing towards the spirit message, which is the 7 of Blades. So let's take a look at this 10 of Blades reverse though. And then to me, I think it's pointing to the 7 of Blades, which is your spirit card. But let's see, the 10 of Blades shows resilience emerging. And even though you may have faced endings, disappointment, or burnout, you have an innate ability to rise again. For Cancers, this is deeply personal. You carry strength inside, often in a way you nurture and sustain others. And here's a reminder that your past trials aren't a burden. They're the foundation of a more measured, grounded strength. And then next up we have the Wheel of Fortune. And this is who held the throne before you. And if you think about it, it's a dragon, but it's in a cycle. It's actually on the shield. And the Wheel of Fortune suggests that the energy of change has been present before you stepped into this moment. And the cycles of life, love, career, and personal growth have been shaping your path long before now. And it reminds you that while external circumstances may feel unpredictable, there's a rhythm, there's a larger pattern guiding you towards opportunities. And recognizing the lessons from the past, that's part of this preparation. So let's get into the window, and this is your hidden strengths, and it's the 10 of Crowns, and this is that warmth I'm feeling, the spring air or the summer air, and I feel like there's waves crashing. And the 10 of Crowns reveals a hidden capacity for lasting security and fulfillment, particularly when you lean into authenticity and you care for what truly matters. And you may not see it yet, but your ability to connect deeply, whether with loved ones, colleagues, or community, is really an asset here. And you've been quietly building emotional wealth, trust, and stability. And paired with the 10 of Blades, it's clear resilience and inner wisdom are your unseen allies. But like, I get this feeling that there's somebody out there who, this might be a personal reading, but it's probably true for a lot of people, but to me I feel like there's somebody out there who has somebody in mind that they're might be in love with, and I see the ocean and the water rushing, and so maybe you're going on a vacation or traveling with this person, but on this vacation you're gonna get a deeper sense of love, or maybe it's just the lake, or spending time in the cabin up north or whatever, maybe down south, whatever it is. I feel like it's warm though. So, moving on, we get the Three of Dragons, and this is your best possible outcome. And there's 3 opportunities here, I feel like, but the Three of Dragons, it encourages collaboration, vision, bringing ideas into reality. And this best possible outcome might involve working with others who share your values, possibly mentoring by somebody, creating spaces for collective growth. And for Cancer, this can feel like stepping into a leadership role without losing your emotional sensitivity. But I want you to think of it as more like you're planting seeds in a fertile soil, and your patience and care will be rewarded. So let's get into the spirit message and the Seven of Blades, which I feel like the Ten of Blades was pointing towards it. And see there's that bloody blade again, and it's pointing as well. And I feel like, so like this was in reverse. I don't know if I can do this, which was pointing there. Let's see, how would that work? It was pointing like that, but then the Ten of Blades, or the Seven of Blades, is pointing towards this one. So I feel like these 2 cards are connected. But the spirit message for the Seven of Blades is reminding that sometimes stepping away and reevaluating your approach will allow clarity to come in. So there must have been something that happened recently with that Ten of Blades being reversed. And there may be strategies, choices, or perspectives you might have not have considered yet. So just pay attention to, maybe colleagues or some new news that comes in. I feel like there's something coming in. And it's something about this card that urges caution against rushing and relying too heavily on old habits. So, this week the Aquarius moon forms a supportive aspect to Venus in Aries, highlighting financial or professional discussions that could influence long-term ambitions. Yet, there's a misalignment with Pluto, which is going to suggest that emotional intensity, especially around shared resources or partnerships. So later, the moon in Pisces shifts your focus towards learning, planning, and introspection. And for Cancer, this energy can feel like a tug of war, and that might be that those 2 cards that I was showing early, there's something with those 2 cards. So if you want, you could look them up on your own and try to see what it says in your own life and what's going on. But part of you is drawn to reflection and emotional alignment, and you may find yourself reevaluating relationships, possibly school or career paths. And it's time to choose peace over external validation and trust the clarity that will be emerging through patience. So let's pull 2 clarifying cards. And the first one is the Ten of Tankards, and this is in reverse. And then next I pulled the Ace of Blades, which is very, very good. And this is where that warm energy is coming from. And I think that might be the Ten of Blades turns into the Ten of Cups here. But the Ten of Tigers reverse clarifies that hidden strength of the Ten of Crowns. It's saying the Ten of Crowns, but I feel like it's Ten of Blades, and it's asking you to release old definitions, basically, and have emotional security, which doesn't require perfection, but it's more about having depth, connection, and authenticity. And then the Ace of Blades connects to the Three of Dragons, and this is new ideas or breakthroughs are possible coming up down the pipeline. And there's a spark waiting for you, and it will flourish with clarity and focus. Across all these cards, I get this theme that is emerging: emotional resilience, strategic reflection, growth through connection. Possibly you're navigating responsibilities, cycles of change, personal evolution, and there's a path to fulfillment if you trust your instincts and keep nurturing what matters most. The Seven of Blades is asking to pause and observe. Perhaps step away from situations where rushing or overthinking has been a habit. And that with the Ten of Tigers reverse, you release old pressures about the external success. And Ace of Blades reminds you that clarity and new beginnings are going to emerge. But I get this sense that there's somebody out there, and possibly for a love energy, that you may feel guarded after past experience. And one moment you notice a partner listening to your silences, offering space without expectations. It awakens a quiet transformation. Love as healing and not just passion. And I feel like there's somebody out there that you might have a connection with that has an old seashell on your nightstand, or maybe it's a rock, you know. You know, there's a rock there. Some odd thing that just really ain't worth really nothing, but it has sentimental value. And to this person, it's a childhood memory. And he might say that he or she, whatever your partner, says that this seashell is a reminder to him that vulnerability is strength. And a nurturing connection doesn't mean losing yourself. I also get this feeling that there's other people out there where your career may feel like there's a balancing act between comfort and ambition. And reviewing I see somebody reviewing their notebook. And this notebook is I feel like it's like an idea book, or maybe a biographical your own biography, I guess you would say, but it's your thoughts, your ideas, and I don't know, the word cemetery of ambition comes to play. So there might be a dark aspect to it, but it's ultimately positive. But I guess with the cemetery, it's seems like old ideas that you thought of but didn't really pan out. But I feel like there is something in that notebook that that can give you an edge on maybe a business, opening a business or something. And I feel like through mentoring or creativity and this entrepreneur work will align more with your values than competition ever could. So I feel like maybe you felt like you were competing against somebody, but I feel like whoever's out there that possibly you might want to consider that joining forces, in other words. And your fulfillment will come from purposeful impact and collaboration. And then I feel like there's a lot of, obviously there's tornadoes that rip through the Midwest. And I see a farmer facing loss, which ultimately is going to show a path to reinvention. Torn produce, storms, dwindling markets will push you towards innovating. I feel like there's communities out there having dinners and discussing new approaches to how to make things better. And your care and resilience will allow growth in unexpected ways. So the lesson here is that loss can be a doorway to new opportunities if approached with patience and creativity. And I say that with a heavy heart because I know a lot of people probably have lost a lot and going through really tough times, and with the economic uncertainty, there's probably not a lot of government help, but hopefully there will be. And I would just, the path forward is through community and people coming together. And I feel like there's an emotional pattern across these areas, subtle but powerful. And the quiet moments, reflection, and deliberate nurturing reveal hidden strengths and opportunities for growth. So, imagine a snow-covered garden, quiet and still, and the garden walks among the frost, knowing the seeds are lying beneath the frozen soil. Nothing appears to grow, yet beneath the surface, life is quietly unfolding. The gardener waits, tending the garden with care, trusting the rhythm of nature. And sometimes our lives feel like this winter garden. We're frozen in circumstances, emotionally or professionally. But beneath the surface, resilience, insight, and growth are taking root. Psalm 1:3 teaches there are light trees planted by streams of water which yield their fruit in season. And trust that even in stillness, progress is occurring. Unseen but real. So, a closing message, I would say remember that personal agency, self-trust, and reflection are your allies. Growth often happens in quiet ways. And answers you seek are often already present, waiting in the stillness. So with that said, thank you for spending this time with me here at Hermit Nuits Tarot. If this reading resonated with you, consider liking, subscribing, and leave a comment about which part spoke to you most to your heart. Sometimes the answers we're searching for were already waiting in the quiet, Always trust your intuition and nurture your growth, and embrace the tides of change. Again, thank you for watching.